She was an Apache woman, forged by land, blood, and spirit. Her life had been one of resilience, rooted in the sacred rhythm of the earth and the traditions of her people. But even the strongest spirits can be worn down by grief, loss, and the slow erosion of everything they've known. Whether it was war, displacement, or betrayal, something had shattered inside her, and so she closed her eyes, not in fear, but in final acceptance. It wasn't just death she was surrendering to. It was the end of a world that no longer had space for her story. In that moment, she let go of more than breath. She released the memories, the battles, the language of her ancestors that no one seemed to speak anymore. Her surrender wasn't weakness. It was a kind of sacred silence, a return to the earth she came from. The body gives up, the spirit drifts, and the weight lifts. But what she didn't expect, what none of us expect, is that surrender isn't always the end. Sometimes when we let go completely, life meets us in a new form. Sometimes the greatest turning point begins when we believe we've reached the end. She didn't wake in the same world. She didn't even wake in the same story, but her eyes opened again, not to the familiar landscape of her ancestors, but to the dust and denim of a cowboy's life. And that, right there, is the mystery. The power of surrender is not in giving up. It's in giving way to something greater, something unknown. And in that moment, her death became a doorway. When she opened her eyes, she wasn't in the sacred lands she knew. There were no ancient songs on the wind, no familiar faces welcoming her to the afterlife. Instead, she awoke to the rough scent of leather, the creak of saddlewood, and the unfamiliar silhouette of a cowboy, a man of the plains, shaped by his own hardships, hardened by dust and silence. She had expected death, but life had found her again, just not the life she left behind. This cowboy didn't know who she was, what she'd survived, or what she had lost. To him, she was a mystery, a woman caught between worlds, a soul pulled back from the edge. And to her, he was everything foreign. His voice was strange, his gods unfamiliar, his world one of fences and firepower, not spirits and ceremony. Yet somehow, it was his hands that had lifted her from death, his presence that had waited beside her body, long enough for her spirit to return. In that moment, something sacred passed between them. Not love, not yet, but something older, recognition. The unspoken knowing that two broken lives had collided not by chance, but by fate. Waking in his world was disorienting. It was survival redefined, and yet it was also an invitation to begin again, to rediscover purpose, not on her terms, but in a land she did not choose, and in the company of a man she did not expect. She had not been saved. She had been called back, and the cowboy, he wasn't just a stranger, he was the bridge between who she was and who she might still become. Her awakening didn't just mark a return to life, it ignited a collision. Two worlds, once separated by history, conflict, and silence, were now entangled in a single moment. She was Apache, a child of sacred mountains, guided by the spirits of her ancestors, taught to listen to the earth. He was a cowboy, molded by open skies, cattle drives, and the slow grind of frontier survival. Their lives were written in different languages,